I have a confession to make. I hate shopping. I'm not good at it. I don't enjoy it. I don't really have time for it. And I pretty much have everything I need anyways. So I try to avoid it as much as possible. But I love a good deal. I'm just a sucker for a good deal. And it just so happens, here in Canada, we have Boxing Day, Boxing Week, all kinds of sales. And so I figured, it doesn't hurt to just look, right? Window shopping, and you basically, now with all the technology, you can shop online just by opening a few windows on your laptop, on your phone, whatever. And so I figured I'd just search around for some good deals. Now, Father Alex recently was telling me all about he's got these amazing headphones. They're active noise canceling headphones. Maybe you've heard about them, but basically he's saying how much they're great for him because he's able to enter more deeply into prayer. He's fostering his interior life, and he can completely ignore me when he wants to. So I figured that's what I need. I'll get a set of those as well, and then I can ignore him as well. It'll be beautiful. And so I began my search for these noise-canceling headphones, and I was searching online, various websites, including Amazon, of course. And I was looking up different features and reading reviews. I went into a couple of stores, actually, and talked to a few salespeople to find out, what they know about these things. I even spoke to an audio engineer at one point. And he was explaining the science behind these. There's sound waves coming at our ears in these headphones. They pick them up. They create the same sound wave and invert it so they cancel each other out. It's brilliant. And so I was like, this is exactly what I need. And so it's amazing how many hours of research you can spend investing in this kind of thing. One day last week I was celebrating Mass. And, I was doing all the holy things. I was praying the prayers and doing all the hand gestures and stuff. Guess what I was thinking about? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't Jesus. I was thinking about headphones. And I realized I got a problem here. I have to repent. And this whole thing had become like a mini obsession, this search for headphones. And I realized, they talk about consumerism, where we consume products, but I was the one who got consumed in the search for these things. It was like, if I just find these headphones, then everything's going to be great. I'll be able to block out the world, all the noise, then I will find this deep, abiding peace. And instead, I haven't been at peace at all. There's been this constant buzz going on as I've been thinking about it, and trying to find the perfect set of headphones, this interior noise. Now, I hope that none of you can relate to this whatsoever, but I realize that this is our culture, right? And I suspect some of us, you know what it's like to get consumed in the search for whatever it is. And maybe it's not headphones for you. Maybe over these last number of weeks, it's been searching for that perfect gift, for that special someone to communicate how much you love them. Or maybe you get consumed in the search for new clothes or new gadgets, or maybe it's a new car or even a new home. We can invest so much time and energy researching, talking to people, driving around, searching online, because we believe deep down this is going to be the thing that makes us happy. This is going to be the thing that once we finally get it, then we can rest. Then we can experience peace. Now, by the way, it's an epilogue to my search for the headphones. To quote the famous poet and philosopher Bono, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Now, I do want to talk about a few guys today who found what they were looking for. And as well as I do, this is the Feast of Epiphany, the story about these magi, these wise men, so I like to refer to them as the three amigos, who go off in search for this king of the Jews. They get fixated, they're obsessed. I mean, in a good way, they're obsessed with this search to find this newborn king of the Jews. Now, just to back it up, what do we know about the Magi? They're from the east, so they're possibly from Persia, that area. They weren't keeping an eye on Boxing Day sales on Amazon, but what they were doing was they were keeping an eye on the stars. They were researching the stars, and they noticed this new star that in those days, that kind of cosmic phenomenon suggested a newborn king. And this star grabbed their attention. They became consumed in this search. They said, we have to go find this king. And so they set out at great expense to themselves, a great deal of time, money, energy. They traveled great distances. I'm sure there were dangers and distractions. Who knows what they encountered on the road? Thieves, traitors. And they finally make their way to Jerusalem. They talk to a few people to get some intel. And they even have a private audience with Herod. And then they find this Jesus, this baby in Bethlehem. And it's remarkable when you think about it. These pagan astrologers, they go in and they lay prostrate before this king of the Jews. They don't merely bow down, but they put their faces to the ground before him to worship him. And then they offer gifts of gold, frankincense. No, just kidding. Just seeing if you're paying attention. Frankincense and myrrh. And as I say, unlike the U2 song, they found what they were looking for. And the text even says they were overwhelmed with joy. So how does this story apply to us in the 21st century? I suspect that all of us, we're searching for something. We're searching. We can get consumed by this search. And, maybe for you it's not headphones. Maybe it's some other thing. Maybe it's even a new job or a new relationship, a new experience. And we can get consumed in this search, thinking, if I can just find this thing, then my life will be better. Then I will experience peace. And in my case, I thought, if I just get these headphones, then there'll be no noise. I'll be at peace. But the truth is, peace is not merely the absence of noise, but it's the presence of Jesus. I'll say that again. True peace is not just the absence of noise, it's the presence of Jesus. And deep down, whatever it is you've been searching for, again, if it's new gadgets or new clothes or new furniture or new PS5 or whatever, whether you know it or not, underlying that search is the search for Jesus. I love how St. Augustine famously said it. In the 4th century, he said, "You have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they find rest in you." I experienced that. Going back to websites, going to stores, this restlessness. When deep down, Jesus wants us to find him, to rest in him. Now you might be saying, well, I have trouble finding Jesus, in a real experiential way. And besides, God's invisible. It was easy for the wise men. They actually got to go see him physically. But God's invisible, and I'm not even sure he wants to be found. He kind of likes to stay hidden. It's not true. One of my favorite passages from Jeremiah 29, verse 13, "When you search for me, you will find me, if you seek me with all your heart." When you search for me, you will find me. That's God's promise to us. And I want to suggest that unlike the wise men who had to go off on this journey, we can actually search for Jesus and find him every single day in prayer. I've talked about this before, what I'm calling the DPT, the daily prayer time, that this is something that can become normal for us, those who are following Jesus, that every single day we set aside a little bit of time, a little bit of quiet to pray, to talk to God, probably or hopefully with our Bibles, spending some time searching for God. See, the wise men, they were super clear about what they were looking for. They wanted to find this newborn king. And if we get super clear about what we're looking for, who we're looking for, Jesus, we will find him. And I want to propose today 3 things inspired by the search of the wise men that can help us in our search for Jesus in prayer. And so the first is this. These are 3 Ds. You ready for this? The first is sheer determination. So, as I said, the wise men, they sacrificed quite a bit, time, money, energy. They're engaged in the search for Jesus. They didn't give up. There might have been a temptation to quit at a certain point, but they kept going. They were driven to find this newborn king. And so too, I know that this is possible for all of us. I know it's possible for me because of the amount of energy I've expended searching for things like headphones. And if we redirect that energy in the search for God, we have the capacity to go for it, to search for him. The second is to eliminate distractions. I'm sure for the wise men there would have been all kinds of distractions, again, on the road. Certainly Herod himself. But imagine just the city of Jerusalem. So they've traveled this huge distance. They walk into Jerusalem, maybe for the very first time. This stunning city, majestic temple. There's people everywhere of every nation, marketplaces, food, animals, music. I'm sure they could have easily said, you know what? We've come quite a great distance. This is great. let's just stay here. This is satisfying just to be in Jerusalem. But that wasn't the destination, and they didn't get sucked into a distraction. They kept going. I've heard it said that if the devil can't get us to fall into sin, he'll get us caught up in distractions. And it just so happens that we live in a time where we're bombarded by distractions every minute of every day. Most of us carry around these little 24/7 distraction units, right, in our pocket. These things that can keep us away from God. Now, obviously, I love technology and we can harness it for good, but sometimes cell phones, surfing the internet, watching TV, these are things that can distract us for hours on end, get us away from our search for Jesus. I wonder if it's as simple as beginning every day, deciding we're going to search for Jesus in prayer, maybe in our Bibles, and I'd recommend a paper Bible rather than an app because there's fewer distractions. If it was about searching for Jesus every day rather than waking up, turning on our phones, checking our text messages, our emails, the news, social media, not going to that first, but beginning every day with our phones off and our Bibles open. I really believe that we will find Jesus if we begin our days that way. And the third is to have a humble disposition. When I look at the wise men again, they were motivated by humility. They pursued this search not because they could get something, but because they wanted to give something. They weren't looking for a selfie with the newborn king or an autograph from his parents or even a favor, a prayer request that they wanted answered. What they were after was to go and do him homage and give him gifts. And so too for ourselves, if we pursue Jesus not for what we think we can get from him, but for what we get to give him worship that is due his name, I think we'll really find him. And I love this because it goes completely counter to the consumeristic culture, which is all about what I get, but instead to approach Jesus with humility, what I want to give. And if we do these things, approach with a sheer determination, eliminate distractions, have a humble disposition, I believe that Jesus will allow you to find him. As Jeremiah says, when you search for me, you will find me if you seek me with all your hearts. Over the break, I was actually obsessed with two things. One was, as you know, the search for the perfect set of headphones, which I realized I don't even need. I already have several sets of headphones, and they all work great. So I don't know why I got so caught up in this whole thing. But the second thing was I started binging this podcast. I don't know if some of you listen to podcasts. It's this podcast called This Cultural Moment. And it's two Christian pastors. One is based in Portland, Oregon. One is based in Melbourne, Australia. And they actually recorded it a couple years ago before the pandemic, but it's just as true today in 2022. And I just happened to listen to an episode. They're having this conversation, and they're talking about this very thing, about consumerism, whether it's, shopping online, shopping in person. And they said, we're faced today with this myriad of options. There's so many options before us that can even cause anxiety. And what we need today is not more options, but we need more meaning. And you see, Jesus is the source of meaning. And so if we can redirect all of that energy where we get consumed in the search for products, redirect it in the search for him, we're going to find meaning, and with that, happiness, rest, peace. Obviously we need stuff, but just imagine not being consumed by the search for things that are less than essential. We can have great things or not. We can have great experiences or not. We can experience and encounter great people or not. But we will be deeply fulfilled because we have searched for and we have found Jesus.